Well, hello again there folks, this is Brian, the 3 Topics Gamer, here to present my next and final solo versus series matchup. Now, to go out with a bang, for the first and only time we will be having a double face-off as the Sons of Sparda, Dante and Vergil will go head-to-head against the Sons of Toga, Inuyasha and Sesshomaru to see which pair would emerge the winner. Now, due to the complexity of this particular matchup, I did have to cut out a lot of breakdown information, but this was voted on by you guys and you still want to see what the final results would be, so here's how it's going to work. For starters, we'll be using all 4 of these combatants as they were at the end of their respected storylines. So we'll be using Dante and Vergil as they were at the end of Devil May Cry 5, and I will not be doing what Death Battle does by taking every single version of these characters and cramming them into one body. We are sticking strictly to their skills and abilities that they had showed in Devil May Cry 5 only. As for Inuyasha and Sesshomaru, I will be using them as they were at the end of the Inuyasha The Final Act season. Now, when it comes to all 4 combatants and their equipment, I will be limiting them to their simplest ornaments. So Dante will be bringing only his Dante sword and Ebony and Ivory pistols, Vergil will be equipped with his Yamato sword only, Inuyasha will be carrying his Tenseiga, and Sesshomaru will be bringing his Tenseiga and his Bakusaga. So with that out of the way, what comes next is just an immediate summary of who I believe would win and why. We will not be going over their bios, powers, weapons, or their tactics, as there is simply way too much information to do a proper breakdown for. But this is what you wanted, so let's jump right into the conclusion. Now, just a quick disclaimer before we jump into the conclusion. Now, I'm fully aware that in the Inuyasha series there are a number of words and special attacks and names that sound differently to different people. So, certain words might sound different in terms of how people say it and how I say it. So, if you happen to notice these pronunciations, please do not be alarmed. The whole point is you know what the hell I'm talking about, so don't bring it up in the comment section. Thank you very much. Let's jump right into the conclusion. Now, in my opinion, when the dust finally clears, it will be Inuyasha and Sesshomaru that will walk away victorious. What ultimately allows Inuyasha and Sesshomaru to walk away the winner is their experience, their tactics, and especially their equipment. When it comes to experience, there is no question that Inuyasha and Sesshomaru outclass Dante and Vergil. Dante and Vergil by Devil May Cry 5 are about in their mid-40s, and Vergil had been dead for, or really out of the picture for almost 30 years, not counting his appearance in the first Devil May Cry game. And with Inuyasha being over 200 years old and Sesshomaru being over 900 years old, when you take into account all these guys did was basically travel from place to place killing demons, and there's just no doubt that not only have they dealt with more demons in terms of count, but they have certainly contended with opponents that are far more dangerous and powerful than Dante and Vergil could ever hope to be. Even Dante and Vergil's newly attained Devil Trigger Sin transformation is something that Inuyasha and Sesshomaru could adapt to, and it's made even worse by the fact that Dante and Vergil can only hold these forms for perhaps a minute or 2 at most. When it comes to their tactics, I believe that the status of their relationship plays a major factor in this engagement. By the end of Devil May Cry 5, while Dante and Vergil may tolerate each other, I still do not believe that either of them really like the other, and they are just stuck in the other world until they get out. That cannot be said about Inuyasha and Sesshomaru, as it is made very clear that by the end of the series, the two have a high level of respect for one another, and have no issue coming to the other's aid if they ever needed it. In this kind of fight, Inuyasha would have no issues following Sesshomaru's lead in this engagement, and what the pair would need to do is keep this fight 2 1v1s instead of 1 2v2. Due to Dante and Vergil's personal egos and their desire to fight a fight on their own terms, they would have no problems separating, and this is exactly the wrong approach to use against Inuyasha and Sesshomaru. With Sesshomaru's many centuries of experience, he would easily recognize that Vergil is the greater threat between the two opponents, and that what they need to do is keep Vergil and Dante away from each other, and all Inuyasha needs to do is keep Dante distracted, and with all of his abilities and attacks that he has at his disposal, Inuyasha would certainly succeed in doing this. But ultimately, this is one of the very rare matchups that I've done that is really decided by a single weapon. The MVP of this matchup that will determine which pair will walk away the winner is Sesshomaru's Bakusaga. It is this very weapon that allowed the pair to finally take down the series' main antagonist Naraku after so many encounters with him. If he didn't have this weapon, then there's a very good chance that Dante and Vergil could possibly outlast Inuyasha and Sesshomaru. What makes this weapon so dangerous against Dante and Vergil is that it actually has the ability to cancel out the one advantage that Vergil and Dante have been using their entire life to achieve the amount of success that they've experienced as combatants. With a single cut, not only does this weapon have the ability to nullify any regenerative properties that the target may have, but it will continue to eat away at a target's body, acting as an organic flesh-eating virus until their entire body is decomposed. This is something that Dante and Vergil have never encountered before and have no counter against this. Even the use of their Devil Trigger transformations is useless against this weapon. On top of this, Dante and Vergil are simply outmatched when it comes to damage output. Throughout their entire lives, neither combatant has ever been shown the ability to cause as much damage with a single attack as Inuyasha and Sesshomaru. Dante and Vergil's entire approach to combat is about wearing a target down over time, while all Inuyasha and Sesshomaru need to do is deliver a single well-timed hit, and this is something they could certainly do. And working in Inuyasha's favor is the unique properties of the Black Tenseiga's primary attack, the Medu Zangetsuha, which can fire a series of powerful energy plays that have the power to send a person hit by this attack to the Nether Realm. And it must be said that the Nether Realm is a very different place than Hell, which means that should Dante or Vergil be sent there, that they would have no way to return. Now, I'm not trying to low blow Dante and Vergil as combatants, because in their own right, they have both risen to legendary statuses as combatants, both in my opinion surpassing their father Sparda. But Inuyasha and Sesshomaru have also done the same thing in surpassing their father Toga. And if Dante and Vergil played their cards right, and knew exactly what they were up against in this fight, and took a very different approach than they would normally do, then I could certainly see them performing very well. And even better so, if they encountered Inuyasha and Sesshomaru earlier on in their lives when they were still trying to kill each other, then they could easily take advantage of this and come out the winners. But as it stands, Inuyasha and Sesshomaru are simply a far more experienced combative pair that are bringing far more power as a team to this type of engagement. The way I see this fight playing out is like this. Dante and Vergil would stand a good amount of distance away from Inuyasha and Sesshomaru getting ready to engage each other, but Sesshomaru would inform Inuyasha to hold back on using his Medu Zangetsuha and simply keep Dante busy without overdoing it, as it won't take him very long to take out Vergil. Dante and Vergil would split off taking on different targets, and Vergil would engage Sesshomaru and Dante would engage Inuyasha. On the other side of the battlefield, Dante and Inuyasha are pretty evenly matched, both being primarily strength-based combatants, and despite Dante's primary sword having the ability to summon multiple demonic blades to go alongside his strikes, Inuyasha manages to keep a good distance and retaliates with a series of wind scars, backlash waves, and adamant barrages. And in some cases is able to actually combine a number of these powerful attacks, but this is all meant to keep Dante's attention on him while the other battle continues. Back with Vergil and Sesshomaru, the two would continue to go back and forth, with Vergil using his Yamato and Sesshomaru using his Bakusaga. These two are evenly matched, but Sesshomaru needs to end this engagement as quickly as possible, so in a quick, ingenious moment, he fakes an attack and allows Vergil to strike at him, but in the process leaves himself exposed as well, and Sesshomaru delivers a strike of his own. Both combatants are injured, but Sesshomaru's injury is manageable, but that cannot be said for Vergil. At first, Vergil doesn't think much of the strike, but then he begins to realize that his body is beginning to decompose and his healing factor has been nullified. Realizing that he is ultimately going to die, Vergil decides to go kamikaze and activates his Devil Trigger Sen transformation and decides to go all out in an attempt to finish off Sesshomaru before his body completely decomposes. With this new enhanced offense and the combination of all of Vergil's demonic attacks, he begins to start overwhelming Sesshomaru, but it is not enough to kill him. As Sesshomaru pulls at his Tenseiga, and though this weapon cannot be used to kill, it can work as a secondary defensive weapon, and now dual-wielding his Tenseiga and his Bakusaga, and using a combination of all of his natural demonic abilities like his own enhanced accelerated healing, his light whip, and his own ability of flight, Sesshomaru turns the tide and begins to go head-to-head with Vergil, matching his offense with his own. And while at this point neither are delivering any hits, the point at this point in the fight is to allow the decomposing abilities of the Bakusaga to do the work while he stalls for time. On the other side of the battlefield, Dante, at the corner of his eye, sees that Vergil is fading away, but he can't break off his fight with Inuyasha due to the overwhelming rate of attacks that Inuyasha is dishing out on him. This ultimately leads to Vergil's Devil Trigger Sin form expiring, and Vergil falling to the ground defeated, with the remains of his body decomposing away, leaving only his Yamato sword and its sheath being all that is left of him. Dante accepts that his brother is now gone forever, but continues to hold his ground against Inuyasha. Sesshomaru then puts away his Tenseiga sword and picks up the Yamato and rejoins Inuyasha. Now, having just watched his brother Vergil die, the smart thing for Dante to do would be to cut and run, but being who he is, he chooses to stay and fight both Inuyasha and Sesshomaru at the same time. However, he never got a chance to see exactly how Vergil was killed, and now seeing Sesshomaru wield his brother's sword, Dante seems to relish the challenge. However, Sesshomaru and Inuyasha already have a game plan to finish him off. Dante immediately activates his Devil Trigger Sin transformation and rushes at his opponents, but this doesn't faze either combatants, as their experience against multiple demons has prepared them, and on top of that, Sesshomaru just proved that he had more than enough tools and abilities at his disposal to contend with Vergil's Devil Trigger Sin form, and now dual wielding the Yamato and the Bakusaga, he is more than ready to respond with Inuyasha, who still has one more special attack that he hasn't used yet. Dante continues his assault on Inuyasha and Sesshomaru, but with the brothers working together, even in this enhanced form, Dante cannot seem to gain any advantage over the two. The clash continues for another minute or two until ultimately Dante's Devil Trigger Sin transformation expires and he reverts back to his base form. It is at this time that Sesshomaru rushes Dante, who is left momentarily exposed, and now strikes at Dante with both the Yamato and the Bakusaga, knocking him back. Just like Vergil, the decomposing ability of the Bakusaga begins to take effect, nullifying Dante's healing factor and decomposing his body. Dante then realizes that this is what caused Vergil's death. Dante attempts to go on the offense one more time, but his efforts are in vain, and Sesshomaru successfully manages to block all of Dante's attack, and using the Yamato and Bakusaga, Sesshomaru knocks Dante several feet into the air, and it is at this moment that Sesshomaru yells, "Now!" And it is at this moment that Inuyasha changes his Tenseiga to its black form, and now Inuyasha has been saving the use of his Medu Zangetsuha, successfully hits Dante, shredding his body into pieces, sending Dante to the Netherrealm, where his body decomposes, finishing him off in a similar fashion to how Naraku was ultimately defeated. And with that, I declare Inuyasha and Sesshomaru, the sons of the legendary dog demon Toga, the winner. Now, in Dante and Vergil's defense, I do believe that there is a way that they could come out the winner also. If instead of Vergil taking on Sesshomaru and Dante taking on Inuyasha, the two sons of Sparda switched, then I do believe that Vergil would be able to cause a lot more trouble for Inuyasha, as his experience against Dante, his laser swords, and his teleportation would make him a much harder target to hit, and Vergil would just wear Inuyasha down over time. I even believe that the Yamato's ability to open up dimensions is a perfect counter to the Medu Zangetsuha attack, while Dante using his Royal Guard stance would simply do everything to avoid getting hit by Sesshomaru. While Vergil finishes off Inuyasha, and then once Dante and Vergil have taken on Sesshomaru together, I do believe that one of them would get hit by the Bakusaga. Whether it's Vergil or Dante that gets hit, both would see what the cause is, and the two would work together in order to disarm Sesshomaru of this weapon. I do believe that Dante would cause some kind of effective distraction that would give Vergil the opening he needs to execute a precision-like cut to cut off Sesshomaru's arm that is wielding the Bakusaga. Then the two would activate their Devil Trigger Sin transformations and overwhelm Sesshomaru before the effects of the Bakusaga killed one of them, leaving only one fighter standing, but that would give their team the victory. And before anyone asks why Dante wouldn't use his Royal Guard stance during the first scenario, I do believe that this technique has its limits, and that he simply would not be able to hold up against such a highly effective and well-coordinated offense as Inuyasha and Sesshomaru could bring against him. But these are just my thoughts. Now, this conclusion is my final solo matchup that I will be doing for my Versus series, and I understand that due to the lack of breakdown information, that this argument may not seem very strong for some. But this is what you, the viewers, wanted, so this is really the best I can do to condense what easily would have been an over-hour matchup video into its simplest form. But I'd love to hear your thoughts on this particular matchup. Do you agree that Sesshomaru and Inuyasha will be able to outfight Vergil and Dante, or do you believe that there is somehow a way that Dante or Vergil could pull up the upset, or do you agree more with my second thoughts on how this fight would play out? Share your thoughts with me and everyone else in the comments down below, and if you like this video, don't forget to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to help grow the channel, and be sure to make sure that your comments in the comment section are respectable. And like always, thank you guys for watching, you're awesome, and now please enjoy this quick little preview of my Season 5 Versus Series finale and my very last matchup for my channel. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you next time.